I'll just take a video here of me leaving Gettysburg. I'm at the very north end of Gettysburg National Park, almost to the town of Gettysburg itself. To my right, about a half a mile, would be Culp's Hill area. The battlefield sort of narrows as you go further north, spreads out as you go further south. Kind of a, at least when you're driving around it, it's almost like a pie shaped, although it's not, but because of the roads, the way they're angled into Gettysburg, the three major roads converge in Gettysburg, it feels like an angle.
In 600 feet, turn left onto Cyclorama Drive.
Yes, my map is still working. Even though I have the video on, I love it. Thank you, Samsung.
Turn left onto Cyclorama Drive, then turn left onto US 15 Business South.
Ooh, Cyclorama Drive. I wonder if they have the machines where you put a quarter in and you get a wax mold of something. There's a museum of science in this street. It's just a cycle. It's not like a ram of
Next
something.
left onto US 15 Business South.
You got it. See, you've got the Kentucky Fried Chicken here. That kind of ruins it here, but this is the end of the northern edge of the whole National Park. I could have pulled out in front of this car, but I'd rather not. I like the, this is one of the major roads into Gettysburg, Emmetsburg Road. And it's the
Continue
one
on US 15 Business South for 6 miles.
and it's the one that the Confederates had to cross as a dirt road, I guess, then, to get to the left here to the angle. And this is Pickett's Ridge to the right, the forest to the right. That's where they came from. That's where they spent the night and then charged across. No fences, I don't believe, at that point, but what a horrible prospect for that night. I can't imagine sleeping very well at all. But I'm in the national park. It's not contiguous completely. There are sections where there's private property interspersed, especially when you get on the edges of it. To my left is Little Round Top, Big Round Top. Well, you can see there's some birds. Beautiful. Look at that flock of birds up there. I love seeing that. It's just how they fly, I don't know how they do that, but plethora of monuments everywhere here. I'm gonna do this. There we go. And still in the national park. These buildings here are all on the historic register. All farm buildings that were here in 1863, because actually Gettysburg dates back 100 years prior to that. And it's 6,000 acres at this point. I mean, they've added and added. Even I think in 2009 they added acres to it, just so that they wouldn't have commercialization encroaching upon it. They have some, but not a lot, as you can see here going south. I'm basically going a little bit southwest. Still the battlefield here, and to my left is Big Round Top. There's the Devil's Den over there. So there was activity all over here. It was 3 days worth of fighting, so it wasn't necessarily fighting all 3 days in one particular spot. You You know, there was getting ready to fight day, and there was fighting day, and maybe then follow-up fighting day, and stuff like that. It depends on where you were in Gettysburg, or on the field of battle. I mean, there were 150,000 troops involved, so you can imagine there was room for a lot of skirmishes, battles. I'm still here in the park. And then what, I've driven a mile and a half, maybe a little more, since I made that turn onto Emmitsburg Road. I don't really know if this is part of it or not. I see the American flag. I don't know. Could be part of the park, but you can see that building over there is. Might be maintenance for the park, who knows, but now the park gets sort of interspersed with private land here at this point. If you look at a map, you'll still see big sections of park, but then there's sections of private property as well. So here you don't really know unless you see something that's private, or you see something that refers to the park, or a monument. There's a monument right there to the left. The monument's going to go on park property, not on private property. So again, I'm not sure right now. I'd have to look at a map and compare it to where I was driving as to where the park comes in. Like I say, sometimes you go through it, sometimes it hits the road on one side or the other. At this point, this far south, you get down to, there's another monument, a couple of monuments, that's part of the park. But now, as you get further south, there's more and more private development. Some of it, you know, took place a long time ago, before the national park was anywhere near the size it is. So, I don't have any idea if they're still trying to buy up parcels or not. As you can see, it's becoming more and more private property. But again, I was down here pretty far south, and all of a sudden I saw a bunch of monuments, and there was a road to drive down, and I looked on the map, and it was part of the park. So I think once you get to 15, that's it. There's nothing south of 15. All the ice is off the trees now. Not as pretty as it was, but that was kind of a cool catch. Timing is everything. I'll be turning this video off pretty soon here, because like I say, now it's seeing more houses and everything. I just want to get 15 within sight and see if that road was off of this road or off of Taneytown or Baltimore. I can't remember which road I was coming up and driving around, and that section of park was this far south. But it's 6,000 acres, so it's quite extensive. It's like, in Chicago terms, that would be 10 Midway airports. To put it in perspective for those that might, know how big Midway is. Square mile is 640 acres. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much to see here, but I'm just trying to see if there's the last bit of monuments are over here. They may not, because like I say, I was confused really until today as to where the roads were. Of course, when I come back here, whether it be 6 months, a year, 2 years, I'll be confused once again. I'll have to refamiliarize myself. It is pretty country, though. I mean, sometimes marred by commercial development, but hilly, and it's, it's February 25th, so there's no leaves in the trees or anything. But I've been here in the warmer months, and it really is a very pretty bucolic sort of setting. That's how it's so hard to imagine the carnage of it all. closer to 15 than I thought I was a little closer to 15. You can see the stone wall right here to the right. I don't know if that has any significance. I don't know if that's been there for 200 years or was part of the park to the right. Could still be.
In a quarter mile, take the ramp to Frederick.
There's an old house there. Or just, yeah. So I'm going to turn this up because we're getting totally out of Gettysburg National Park at this point, I'm sure. And on to West Virginia.